Hi, everybody. It's Jessica Stone at Stansberry Research, and I'm joined now by Greg Diamond of 10 Stock Trader. And Greg, we've been talking about how to trade these tech troubles, specifically in the semiconductor field. You've been watching this field and watching as Intel just recently reported that it may not be able to make its chips in the United States anymore. What has that meant for other competitors in the semiconductor field and the chip making field?
Well, it's been their gain. You saw Nvidia rally 10%. You saw AMD rally 20%. I got my subscribers into AMD probably a month before all this started. And you're starting to see this shift in semiconductor stocks where an Intel goes bad, and then that's a gain for Taiwan Semiconductors, Nvidia, and Advanced Micro Devices. Yesterday, Microchip came out. Their earnings weren't as good. They're not seeing the same demand. This hit on NXPI and Texas Instruments. So you're seeing this shift where there's this new crop, not necessarily new crop, but outperformers are really starting to outperform, and then those who aren't be able to keep up are starting to fall by the wayside. So there's this diversity, there's a shift between the semiconductors globally.
So we should probably state that semiconductors are sort of the critical building blocks, and chips are the critical building blocks in almost everything that we use electronically. What we're talking on now, our microphones, our cell phones, our TVs, our computers, lights, cameras, action, all of it. And so whoever dominates this space really has leverage, not just in the marketplace, but politically as well. You mentioned the race between China and the US. We've seen this administration really put a high premium on buying American and forcing Chinese companies out of being able to buy American chips. How is that impacting the sphere that you're watching, and particularly these American companies? Are they getting a bump?
I would think that over time, with the shift that I've been talking about, you'll probably see this start to come through in earnings, or what CEOs or what analysts are saying about their exposure to a China or a Russia, that is deemed to have, not the best integrity in terms of what they're doing with their technology. So I think that you'll start to see that come through, not just in price, but also in, how companies are, a public relations matter really, and how they're communicating to investors. Like, look, we understand the shift that's taking place. We understand safety concerns. This is what we're going to do about it. But right now, you're seeing a big crop of dominators that are coming through, which, let Intels of the world, which have been around forever, are kind of falling off.
And is that because, I would think that chips have to keep up, if not be ahead of all of the technology, right? So we go from 4G to 5G, for example. You have to have faster chips. You have to be able to make them differently. Are American companies, and the American companies that you follow in particular, are they well equipped? I mean, we know that Intel doesn't appear to be, but are other companies well equipped to continue making those chips for the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, they have to be. Otherwise, they're going to go out of business. They're not going to be around, or someone else is going to buy them up. And I think that's another thing that investors should focus on. When you look at who's underperforming and who's outperforming, I think and with interest rates at zero, that are not going up anytime soon, there is a lot of options for these stronger companies like an Nvidia, like a Advanced Micro Devices, like a Taiwan Semiconductor, that are going to be able to say, okay, who's for sale? Let me start doing some, a little fire sale. Let me start doing some bargain hunting, and that in itself will improve their processes, improve their technology. They can collaborate, and then you have even better chips that come out of those, M&A deals.
Yeah, how should investors play that?
Let's say you don't have time, you want exposure to the market or to that sector, but you don't necessarily want to, dig through all of the earnings and the balance sheets. And, is it Nvidia? Is it AMD? Is it Taiwan? Is it Texas Instruments? What you can do is actually just go out and buy SMH, which is the VanEck Vectors Semiconductor Index. Again, ticker is SMH. And then you have exposure to the entire market.
And that's an ETF, so that gives you exposure to the entire market.
That's an ETF, and so it has all the big semiconductor names in there, and then you have exposure to the sector. You're not necessarily worried. Okay, well, are these guys going to be outperforming? Are these guys going to be underperforming? You have exposure to everything. So as this 4 to 5G, as the technology improves, in theory, you'll have exposure to that, and it's a good investment.
The pandemic does not appear to have dampened the need for people to buy to buy these items or to use these items. So you haven't seen any depression on demand, right?
No, you saw the Semiconductor Industry Association, the SIA, came out. Now, sales are relatively flat. They're up to like 4 or 5% month over month and year over year. However, we saw this rotation, if you will, globally, where United States sales were up almost 30%, China was down 4%, and Europe was down about 10%, if I recall. So, you know,
What does that tell you?
well, again, the United States is still leading. It's still winning. I think the growth here is exponential. You look at 5G. I think you look at the security measures that are put in place, and people are going to go where their money is going to be treated the best. And right now, it's the United States.
All right. Well, certainly the flag wavers in our audience will definitely be very happy to hear that, as will potential politicians who are worried about national security concerns. So two other geopolitical things to think about there when you invest in semiconductors. Our thanks to you, Greg Diamond. And if you'd like to be connected directly to his product, 10 Stock Trader, please hover on the screen now and we'll give you a subscription link. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. I would also ask you to follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.